everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and it's Sunday, so it's time for our Soul Sunday broadcast. For those of you who don't know, we do 3 broadcasts a week. 2 on a Friday, 1 at lunchtime, Pacific time, which is our skills broadcast. And then we do 1 in the evening, which is our humor one. And then on Sundays, we do what we call the Soul Sunday broadcast. And we're inclined to bring the pace down a bit and just relax a bit more. Hi, Lily, and hi, Jody. And the reason is because if during the week you're having a problem sleeping or you're just finding life a little bit difficult, hi there, Sandy, I think. It's a really nice idea to bring up the Soul Sunday broadcast, and I group them all together in a playlist, so you can just put them on and hopefully it'll help you sleep. So there you go. That's the reason why we do them, but we do them most of all to set ourselves up for a quieter start to the week. Today, we will be continuing the theme for this weekend, which is friendship. And so today what I managed to find is a whole lot of quotes, hi Isabel, a whole lot of quotes about the joy of friendship. And I wanted to talk a bit about that because, as some of you know, I've had a week where I think, well, in the last 10 days, 3 different people, 3 of my friends have visited me and helped me. And I'm not used to that. I'm not used to that all in one very short space of time. And it has been such a joy to me. And yesterday, Marnie came, Benji came, that Dougie came yesterday. And so it's been an incredible time. And one of the goals that I had when Doug came was for me to find these. As some of you know who are long-time viewers, these, can I get them into camera? Yes, I can. These 2 brass jugs come from my home in England. The home was over 400 years old, and this reminds me of them, the hunting horn as well. And somewhere, I haven't found them yet, are the 4 hunting prints that go with them. Actually, they're not hunting prints. They're 4 prints from Constable that my mommy loved. They're little prints, and my mommy loved them to bits, and I kept them. So yes, we found the hunting horn. The problem we have now is where is the right place to put them? And with your permission, I'm not going to hurry that because I think I know where it needs to go, but then it might not be in view for things like broadcasts and stuff, but I'm pretty sure that you can understand that. It's better that it goes where it belongs rather than that it fits into broadcast. But you do know that I've got it and life is good again. I also wanted to make a comment. Some of you know that I've been talking about that I've been having some issues with my left leg. And I thought what I would do is, before we get on to the power of friendship, is talk about exactly what's happening, so some of you will better understand. Are any of you sitting right now? Just so that, because that'll help me explain what's happening. If any of you are sitting, can you lift your left leg without any assistance? In other words, can you just sit there and lift your left knee up? And see, that is my problem. If I am sitting down, I cannot lift. I don't have the lift in my left leg. Now, I'm pretty sure I know what's causing that. And what I'm doing is everything I can think of to exercise those muscles that for some reason have atrophied over the course of the last few years. And I'm on a mission to get those coming back again. Now, I can lift it. Hang on a second. I can lift it if I'm standing, all right? I can, not very far, but I can nearly get it up to counter height. This one, I can get almost at right angles. But this one, as you can probably see, it is painful and difficult to lift. So I am busy doing exercises. For those of you who sent me, I think Jody was one, somebody else also sent me links to exercises I can do to help that. Thank you. My Total Gym is already helping it a great deal, but I thought I'd show you. Now, where it becomes a problem is, for example, when I'm trying to put on socks or something and shoes. And obviously, I need to be able to continue to be able to look after myself in that way. And that's why I'm on a mission. The other thing I wanted to do before we get started is just make sure that we put out some thoughts and prayers for all our viewers who are going through a difficult time medically this week. We've got a number of viewers that are not well. We've got a number of viewers that are, facing some interesting some difficult challenges. And so what I wanted to do is just ask everybody that either is here or hears this broadcast, please could you put out thoughts and prayers for those less fortunate than yourself or those in need. Sometimes their issues are less than yours, but the effect on them is greater. And I think that is something that I've noticed a great deal, that, a lot of our viewers struggle with a lot of, different things. But funny enough, they seem to cope better than people who have less things going on. I don't know if any of you have noticed that. So I just thought we'd start today by putting out thoughts and prayers for everybody who is not doing so well. For those of you who are following the coronavirus thing, as you probably heard, there has been a death in Washington State, which is just below me. We have 8 confirmed cases in my region already. And, it's pretty scary. And I'm certain any of you who are in those regions, as I am, it's a pretty scary thing. But as again, I said it on Friday, and I'm going to say it again. At the moment, the common flu is more dangerous, right? More people have died from the regular flu than they have from coronavirus. So please keep it in perspective. And that every country in the world that is capable of working on it is working on it right now. Interestingly enough, the majority of the cases here in British Columbia came out of travel to Iran. So apparently Iran has quite a problem going on there at the moment. All right, so now then, having done that, let us get on to the good stuff. I'm pretty sure that you all have friends and that you value them. And so what I'm going to do is, hi there, Lily. What I'm going to do is talk a bit about friendship, but also ask you to think both sides of this. And I'll explain as we go along. For example, the first quote is that the greatest gift of life is friendship. And I have received it. Hubert Humphrey said that. And, when you think about it, do you consider that friendship is the greatest gift in your life? And if so, who have you received it from? And what did it look like? And why was it so special? And then what I'd like you to do is think about, if I concentrated on friendship this week, who would I want to pass that level of friendship on to? Who would I like to let them know that they are that special and that important and that amusing and that reliable and that considerate, all those words that you probably put around your friends? And that is something I would also ask you to do. If you were to use 3 words to describe your friends that they all appear to have in common, what would those 3 words be? Right? What 3 words would you use about your friends? I was trying to think about mine. Without a doubt, all of my close friends have humor in different levels. They have to cope with me. All right, so that's the one thing. I would say that all of my close friends are very reliable. My close friends, if they say they're going to do something, I don't have to think about it. I know they're going to do it. And I value that. I don't need to keep phoning up and going, are you really going to be there? Or are you sure we're still on for Tuesday or whatever? My really close friends, when they say they're going to do something, they mean it. And the only time that I would hear from them would be if life seriously got in the way. And I don't mean they just didn't feel like doing it. I mean, life seriously got in their way. Then I would hear, Sal, I'm really sorry, but I can't do this. I've been delayed or whatever. Yeah, it's interesting. Jody says humor, integrity, and compassion. Yeah. And so the one thing I also like about my very close friends, they're great debaters. All right. I can talk to my really close friends about any subject and have totally different views from them, and we don't take it personally. All right. We get really interested. We go, oh, that's interesting. Why? Really? Why? It's a sort of like we are capable of hearing both sides of things when we're together, and we laugh a lot about it, right? So, but that's what I'd like you to do. Anybody else? Jody has put up humor, integrity, and compassion. Anybody else want to add to that? And by the way, if you're listening on the replay, feel free just to put the comments in. And put the note in the comments, and then we'll be able to get a sense of it. Now, I'm going to explain why in a minute, once we've got a few other people that have got their qualities of their best friend up. In the meantime, I'm going to carry on. Walking with a friend in the darkness is better than walking alone at night. Helen Keller said that, and as a lot of you undoubtedly know, she was blind. So you understand, walking with a friend in the dark is better than walking alone in the light. And I would ask you, in terms of your friendships, how many of you value your friends because when life messes up for you, they're the ones that are always there? Yeah, Lily's saying the three things that she really can see in all her close friends: authenticity, transparency, and a good heart. Good. Thank you, Lily. The reason that I ask you to think about that is because 9 times out of 10, if I asked you, Lily, what are your 3 top qualities, would you give me those 3? Think about that. And Jody, if I asked you for your top 3 qualities, would you give me humor, integrity, and compassion as your answer? Because it has been my experience that the people I attract to me and the people that I truly value are the ones that have the same core beliefs and the same core values as I do. When I say beliefs, I don't mean that we all, hi there, Beth. I don't mean that we all agree on things all the time. It's about the little things in life that are huge, like integrity and the ability to have humor and the ability to care for other people. Hi, Erin. Those are the core things that I really appreciate. And the interesting thing is I attract people who have those core things as well. So have a look at that in your own life, all right? Sometimes we're so good at being friends to other people, we forget to be that person for ourselves. And that's why I always say to people, give me, those qualities in your best friend, because it gives me a pretty good idea of the qualities that you have. How many of you going, I never thought of that? And how about this one? A real friend is one who walks in when the rest of the world walks out. I'm amazed how many times, we've had viewers, for example, that have come in and gone. But I have a wonderful network of people who keep in touch with me, and they keep me informed about other people. And if ever I hear somebody's in a difficult situation, I will quietly, not as DearMamaSal, the website, so much as, just DearMamaSal herself, I will actually make sure that I send them some words of encouragement or something, because I know the value of that. And I know they don't need me most of the time, but if they're going through a tough time, they may. Remember what Nana said this week. For those of you who weren't there for the broadcast when Nana came in, the week before, Nana had been in emergency with Rick. And she was on her own, and she knew we'd be broadcasting. So she actually texted into the broadcast so that we could support her while she was with Rick. And I don't know about you, but I thought that was pretty special. And she said it really helped her, because she knew that many people were praying for him and for her. All right, Jean Lafontaine said, rare is a true love. A true friendship is rarer. I can hear my mother saying more rare. She doesn't like the word rarer at all. Anyway, but I know I mentioned this once before over the years, and I'm going to say it again. In my day, when I was at school, we used to have an autograph book. I don't know if any of you relate to this. And what you did is you went to your friends and you got them to write nice things in your autograph book. And I can remember getting a brand new one. And somebody wrote on page 1 of that book, and I will see it to the day I die. True friends are like diamonds. They are precious and rare. And false friends, like autumn leaves, are strewn everywhere. And how many of you can feel that? True friends are like diamonds. They are precious and rare. But false friends, like autumn leaves, they're everywhere, right? And Erin, thank you for your kind words, saying I look very pretty. Who doesn't want to hear that? That's a friend, thank you. Would you also say I was looking pretty cruddy if I was, Erin? Because if so, then you are a true friend. One of the saddest things I have about my friendship with Erin is that Erin has a voice tone that I have lost in my hearing. And if you want to hear how difficult that is I cannot talk to Erin on the phone because I can't hear her. Even if I'm wearing a hearing aid, it doesn't, it's a bit like Alexa. I don't want to wake her up, but a bit like Alexa, I have difficulty hearing Alexa. But, it's really funny because I won't let that stop me. Erin and I have worked out this system. Jody can hear her. So when Erin wants to tell me something, she tells Jody, and Jody then lets me know. It is so cute. And I think that's true friendship. This is like, she knows I can't hear her, so she can't phone me and tell me. But if it's something she wants to tell me, sometimes it's quicker just to tell Jody, and then Jody will let me know. I love that. And I really do think that that's a sign of great friendship. Thanks, Erin. And thank you for understanding my limitations. All right, so how about this one? I cannot even imagine where I would be today were it not for a handful of friends who had had a heart full of joy. Let's face it, friends make life more fun. How many of you feel that? Friends make life more fun. And when I say those words, who comes to mind? Which one of your friends comes to mind? You know, if you could have seen us yesterday, and I will, when I get that far, I will edit that piece of vlog. But you know, Benji, Dougie was helping me do the final, putting my fancy coffee table that lifts up into a desk, right? So during the day when you don't need it, you know, it's down as a coffee table, and when you need to use your computer, you can lift it up. It's not as easy as it looks. Lift it up, and now you've got a desk. Well, we did a great job putting it together, people. You would be proud of us. Except when when we got it all together, it left a hole. When you put the desk back again, there was a hole like this big. So we knew we'd done something wrong. Now you see, you know, you're with a friend when they start to laugh and go, "That doesn't look too good, does it?" You know, not like, "Oh, you silly person." You know, we're both looking at it going, "Yep, I guess that's not the way it works." Now, you know, it was Dougie, and he was reading the instructions. And I don't read instructions very well, but Dougie really does. And even then, we got it wrong. But, you know, the fun thing was we just went, okay, well, now we know how it doesn't work. It's going to be easier to find out the way that it does. I mean, there can only be two ways that it works. And we started off with the way that doesn't. So I thought that was pretty good. So we undid all the screws and did it again. And by the way, in doing that, we needed to go. Oh no, we went to the back shed to get the brass because I promised you I was going to look for that, and I found it. But you know what else I found? And this was very exciting to me. If I can remember how to open it. There we go. Wait. Hang on. A toolkit with sockets and drill bits and pliers and all the bits. So there are a couple missing, but that's okay. I will either find them or replace them. It's quite easy. And Allen keys, a whole lot of Allen keys as well. So it's like, that was really awesome. I'm so happy about that. Now, I would not have found that, you know, had I not had Dougie with me to help me. And you know, you do know that of all the boxes, I knew that the brass jugs and everything were in one box that I had wrapped. And I can tell which boxes I wrap by a certain thing that I do. Everybody, I don't know if you know that, but everybody has their own way of wrapping up a box. All right. And so when I looked at boxes, I'd go, yeah, I did that one. I can tell. The other thing is I always write on my boxes. And so, you know, there were 6 boxes that were the shape that I needed because I knew that I had put the brass jugs into a particular shape box because they were bigger. And so I said, it's one of these 6. And you all know it was the last one of those 6. We had to move 5 others and a lot of other things to get to it, but we got to it, and I was just so happy. It filled me full of joy. Isn't that weird? How many of you, isn't it Marie Kondo who says that, you know, if something fills you full of joy, you keep it. All right? If it sparks joy, I think that's what she says, right? So how many of you can imagine that this toolkit sparks some amount of joy, right? When I found it, I was going, wow, it wasn't packed in a box either. It was free. And I found it when I was, you know, isn't that always the way though? You go looking for one thing and you find the other. So I'm much happier now. I like this quote. It said, "Friends are the siblings God never gave us." But I like to think that they are the siblings he did give us. I really have to say that. They may not be blood siblings, but how many of you know that you have made friends in your life that are almost better? Kez is saying, yes, because you're so excited to show us. You're right, Kez. And I was going, well, maybe I should clean the brass first before I show the people. I go, no. The peeps that have been around a long time want to see that I found the hunting horn and I haven't found the horse brasses yet, Jody. But I now know that they're there somewhere. We'll find them eventually. So what I'm trying to do is every week take one box at least from every area. So this week I've got my box from the shed. Can you see that we cleared the second box from that shelf? So that one isn't here. I'm working on my box for the week in the craft room. And then I will work on my box for the week for my studio and then one from my bedroom. And, that's how I'm doing it. Now, it sounds like an awful lot of work, but, I just do open up one box a day. And I don't worry if I don't finish it. I just leave it open. And because like all things in life, one step at a time. And I find, the ones that are in the craft room, every time I pass by, I just pick up one thing. And, before you know it, those one things or an empty box. I was working on something in the bedroom today and I found this. I have been looking for this and I thought it's going to take me a year to find that. You know what it is? It's one of those little inserts that so if you've got a low cut V, which this is, you can just pop it in and attach it to your bra straps. And I'm going, I can't believe I found that. Just what I need. And there is nothing on this earth more to be prized than true friendship. I want to tell you that I was looking at Doug yesterday, helping me, and he saw what had happened on that one flower bed that popped with the -12 that we had. And he immediately said to me, if the other people don't do it for yourself, don't worry. James and I'll fix that for you. And I'm going, thanks, honey. And he said, also I'm going to bring James and you just tell us what area you want cleared. We'll empty every box for you. How kind is that? Of course, you and I both know I don't want them to empty a whole series of boxes because I'll be too stressed to know where they go properly. And I rather like just having a little bit at a time. How about you guys? I've got the rest of my life. I don't have to rush. Except when I find that I really want to get something out, then I will get help. Sometimes being a friend means mastering the art of timing. There's a time for silence, a time to let go, and allow people to hurl themselves into their own destiny, and a time to prepare to pick up the pieces when it's all over. It was really interesting. I had one person that I consider to be a friend who went through a particularly tough time. And what I noticed was they didn't write to me to let me know what had happened. And I found that pretty meaningful. And I resisted. Hi, Benj. Good to see you. I resisted all my natural instinct to push to find out what had happened from this friend. And yeah, I want to tell you, every day I woke up and I'm going, I really want to find out. And I'm going, no, trust that that person knows that you want to be there and support you, but also trust that they will do it in their own time. You don't have to go pushing them. They will let you know in their own time. And, I am so grateful to that friend because they did. And so sometimes being a friend isn't about being there all the time. Sometimes it's not being there, but that they know that you are doing that out of respect. Now, does that make sense to anybody? That, that you trust them enough to be in contact when the time is right for them. And, to me, that has been an incredible lesson to learn about friendship. If you wait long enough, you will know. And it's not, I don't consider it a sign of friendship that they tell me immediately or don't. This is like, first they've got to deal with things and then they can start moving those things out a bit. How about this one? A single rose can be my garden, and a single friend, my world. Whoa, Jody. How about we put that one up for our quote of the day? By the way, I clean forgot what our quote of the day was on Friday, but anyway, so a single rose can be my garden, and a single friend, my world. I had a friend tell me once that nobody can be a failure if one person believes in them. And I wonder if any of you have ever been in that point of your life where you didn't believe in yourself and neither did anybody else. And then just one person in your life said, well, I believe in you and I believe you will get through this. And I believe that you can do this. You see, or maybe it's been the other way around. Maybe you were feeling badly about yourself. All right. And one person came to tell you that. So whether it's that you did it for somebody else or that somebody did it for you, I'm pretty sure that we've all been in that position. And I cannot tell you how many people that I didn't realize that I was that one person. Where I would have thought so many people would have been right there with them. And yet so many of them wrote to me and said, you were the only one. I remember Doug telling me that he did an experiment once. And what he did was he decided not to write to anybody for a month, any of his friends. He decided not to phone them or to text them or do anything, because what he wanted to know was who noticed. An interesting experiment. I lasted a week, apparently. Where are you? But isn't that sad? That and he said he was amazed how few people cared that he hadn't been in touch for that long. And so it's an interesting experiment to do. And Henry Van Dyke said this. He said that a friend is what the heart needs all of the time. Right? I've really felt that in the last 10 days. We're having so many of my friends come to visit me. It's this like, and every one of them asked me the same question: what can I do to help you? Which I thought was so stunning, and I can remember with Benji, when Benji came. Hi there, Tanika, good to see you. When Benji came to visit me, I'm going, I've got these light bulbs. I can do it. I just need you near me so I can, no, he wouldn't, you go, why don't you just let me do it? It's Benji. And then Doug, what is on the list, Sal? Because he knows I'm going to have a list of things for him to help me with. He knows me well. I had 3 things and we did 2. I didn't even bother with a third one because he'd worked so hard on helping me on the desk. I'm going the third one. It can wait, or I can, do it on my own. But what he said was just keep the list, and I will. He's going through a really busy time in his work right now, so I know it'll be a while, probably until the summer, before he gets to visit me again. But I do know he will be here, and when he does, he will come ready to do things to help. And how many of you can imagine that for me, when I've always been so independent, having people help me in these ways, I'm not used to it, and it's sort of like I'm learning to be gracious about it, I think. Martin Luther King said something which I think we all can remember today, because today is the 55th anniversary of the march over the bridge at Selma. And, as I was watching that today, and I can remember the original march, and I can remember the horror of what happened. But, to have that many people still alive that were there at the time and relive history. And of course, Martin Luther King came into his element around that time as well. And Martin Luther King said, love is the only force capable of transforming an enemy into a friend. And I can't help but wonder, have any of you got an enemy that maybe needs a friend? Or is it the other way around? Right? Somebody needs a friend, and you've created an enemy instead. And so what does it take to turn an enemy into a friend? What do you think? What does it take to turn an enemy into a friend? And Euripides, from way, way back, Euripides said, one loyal friend is worth 10,000 relatives. Why am I laughing? Anybody else laugh? Yeah, Tanika saying that understanding will turn an enemy into a friend, right? That you can understand their point of view will help mend that. Jody saying giving up the need to be right, having an open mind. Yes. I like this one as well. It said, Aristotle said this also from way, way back. My best friend is the man who is wishing me well for my sake. Right? And what Aristotle is saying, that there's no selfishness in that. He just wishes me well for my sake, not for his. And I think that's beautiful. And then Ralph Waldo Emerson said, the only way to have a friend is to be one. And I've said this twice on Friday, I'm going to say it again today. If you feel you're a bit short on friends, they're probably not lined up outside your door. To get friends, you need to be interacting with people. To get friends, you need to go out and listen and interact with people. To get friends, you need to risk that they won't like you. And to get friends, you need to put yourself in that vulnerable position. Henry Ford said, my best friend is the one who brings out the best in me. Isn't that beautiful? And how many of you believe that your friends, you value them so much because they do bring out the best in you? Maybe they have to extract it, and it's a bit painful sometimes, but they do actually bring out the best in you. And they also, from my experience, see the best in you. But they know you've got the other side, the dark side as well, but they still love you. Pretty amazing, really. William Penn said, a true friend freely advises justly, assists readily, adventures boldly, takes all patiently, defends courageously, and continues to be a friend unchangeably. How about that? And Marcel Proust said, let us be grateful to the people who make us happy. They are the charming gardeners who make our souls blossom. The charming gardeners who make our souls blossom. By the way, for those of you who are in the broadcast on Friday, I was showing you that I bought some mint at the local market, and it was already in a plastic container, whatever. But I stripped it of its mint leaves and I put it in water. And I don't know if you can see. Try and hold it in a way that you can. Can you see here? There's a root growing already. And you can probably see all the new leaves that are growing from where I removed leaves. They're already growing. So, right, so there's that one, that root there. Oh, there's another root. Okay, let me see if I can turn it in a way that you can see it. Yeah. Can you see another root right here? So this is the whole thing about life is just because somebody pulled it apart and put it in a package and sealed it up, it's not dead. You know what I mean? It's not dead. It's just like, if it's fresh enough, you can actually bring it back to life. And I think that's what friends do, don't you? Henry Thoreau said that the language of friendship is not words, but meanings. How many of you are really aware that even though sometimes your friends' words may cut a little bit or hurt a little bit, whatever, you know that at their core, their meaning is good? Have any of you ever found that? And yet, with people who are not our friends, we probably don't have that level of understanding or patience. Things are never quite as scary when you've got a best friend. I've been so grateful for my friends over the course of the last year. I would have to say that with the greatest transition that I have just taken, and it is a huge transition at any age, and particularly at, in your 70s when you've lived in a house for 20 years. I don't think I could have done this transition without the help of my friends, both in just about every area. Some helped me psychologically, some helped me financially, some helped me. It was just like different people just did so many different things to help me make this transition, and it was beautiful. Each friend represents a world in us, a world not born until they arrive, and it's only by meeting that a new world is born. How many of you have felt that about friends? Like, how did I ever live my life without this one? It was just like, but they didn't come into your life until this particular time. And remember, we said that on Friday. People come into your life for a reason, for a season, or sometimes a whole lifetime. But to not expect everybody to be there for a lifetime, because that's not their journey. Their journey is to come and meet you for a reason. Either that they have something to share with you that you need for your next stage of your life, or that you have something for them for the next stage of theirs. And some are there for a season because, how many of you felt that you've been through the winter of your life? It's been really tough. And then somebody came in and made it spring. And I think so often, people come in for a season, they help us through this difficult time. And then there are those that, just love you to bits, whatever, and forgive you, whatever, and just want to still be around you. Who knows why? And they're the people that are there probably for a lifetime. And I've had it happen, and I don't know if you have, that some of my friends I thought were going to be there for a lifetime and weren't. I was quite shocked, and I go, gosh, I thought that friend would be there for a lifetime, and they moved on. Well, they obviously got what they needed, and they're on their way now. I hope I gave enough. Oprah said, a lot of people want to ride with you in the limo. But what you want is someone who will take the bus with you when the limo breaks down. Isn't that the truth? I think one of the great joys I've had, I was talking, as you know, Liz Bradshaw from Vlogaffair came on to one of the broadcasts, and I was saying that I really think that, some of the great joys that I've had in meeting different YouTubers, other than, obviously my connection with Benji and Judy, but, it's like I've met quite a few of them, and the ones that really touched my soul were just so normal. You know what I mean? They weren't big into themselves. They were just very normal people. And I'm thinking of, some of those magic moments in my life. I can think of quite a few where I'm going, I will always value that I got to meet them, and that they actually were so normal around me was just amazing to me. How about this one? Two persons cannot long be friends if they cannot forgive each other their little failings. Is that not part of being a friend? Forgiveness. I've said many times when I describe my friendship with Yvonne, in 20 years of knowing Yvonne, we had a couple of quite serious discussions where we were coming from two completely different points of view. And the interesting thing was, you'd sort of walk away devastated, and you're going, gosh, I hope that's not the end of the friendship. And one thing I kept saying to myself was, I have no reason to fear. Yvonne and I have built up a friendship that will survive if we both want it to. Right? And there's enough, what I call love glue. There's enough love glue to hold that together, unless one of us doesn't want it to. And I think that's something that you can feel. Have I built up enough, love glue in my jar to hold this friendship together, even through a tough time? And if you have, it'll survive. Now, it may be that the other person doesn't feel that there is enough there, and they let the friendship go. And it may not necessarily be a bad thing. It feels devastating for any of us who've had that happen. And some of us have had it happen, in a romantic relationship where people have let us go, or we've let other people go. And, at the time it's devastating, but, later you go, that's probably not a bad thing. And with what I know now, That maybe was a blessing in disguise. I didn't see that one coming. We all call that person who has lost his father an orphan, and a widower, that man who has lost his wife. But the man who has known the immense unhappiness of losing a friend, by what name do we call him? Here, every language is silent and holds its peace in impotence. See, friendless would be what it feels like. And if any of you are friendless at the moment, think about that, right? It may just be a changing of your season, that you had these people in your life to bring you to this point. But those people are not the right people to take you to the next part of your journey through the next season, right? They were there to help you through summer, maybe. They were lots of fun. And now you need the people to help you through autumn because winter is coming. And then you will have the people who will come into your life to help you through spring of your life. And so, you look at the different seasons of your life and you will realize that sometimes you gain new friends as the seasons change. My question is, how many new friends have you made this month? Any? Anybody? One of the things I love about going for a walk in my new community is each time, I really make a point, if anybody is out in their garden or, getting in and out of their car or whatever, I will make a point to interact in some way. The one day I was walking down to check the mailboxes, and there was a daughter helping her aged father out of a car and into a wheelchair and up a ramp. Now, you know me, I couldn't see that happening without offering to help get him up the ramp. And they just laughed at me and said, no, everything's fine. And I said, it's okay. I just wanted to make sure. And to me, it's like there are moments. I was walking today, and one of my neighbors that I have met before, and whose name I can't remember because I didn't take a note, he was the first one that I met that said the place wasn't too friendly. It was funny because I stopped. He was busy digging in his front garden. And I said, wow, what are you doing? Because it was quite obvious from the way that he was digging that he had a plan. And he was saying, well, it's really a case of taking out things I don't want. And I said, and then what are you going to do? And he said, well, I was thinking maybe a gazebo, but that's a work in progress. And I said, hey, totally understand that. And he said, and then I've got my swing that the moment is up against my house, but it would be quite nice to have that here. And I went, yeah, it would. And then he was telling me that he was digging up a lot of dahlia bulbs and tubers and things like that. And I said, well, if you got any to spare, remember the number is, and gave him the number of my house. Because it was like, yeah, I could do with dahlias. That would look very pretty. So then he said, well, he was thinking of just leaving them, on his driveway area so people could pick them up. And I'm going, what day would you be doing that? Because I don't want to miss out. But, I found that just by putting myself out there a bit, it's good for the soul. So my question again is, have you made any friends this week? And if not, why not? It will mean that you have not been out and about. It will mean that even when you were out and about, you didn't interact. And so I find this really fascinating at this age, to literally be putting myself out to make new friends. And, tomorrow I had an appointment, and I suddenly realized I can't have an appointment on Mondays because Mondays is the craft group. And I need to be at the craft meeting because that's where I'm building stronger friendships there. So, it really is quite the business. So as I look at it all, right, Jody's saying, I met some friendly people at the doctor's office. Yeah. Jody, I was wondering, I would think now, especially for somebody like yourself with a compromised immune system, is it going to be a bit scary to go to a doctor's office? Because I was thinking I need to go to my doctor's office and have some tests done. And I'm going, I wonder if that puts me at risk. Now, I understand walking outside and talking to my neighbors could be putting me at risk too. So I just wanted to bring a little bit of reality into that. And yeah, there you go. See, Jody's saying I'm scared, to be honest. Yes. And so I think that it's healthy to be a little scared. You remember what I said, Jody, on Friday? That you need to listen to those inner voices, even though they appear to be negative. The chances are that they are trying to protect you. Right? And so, are you at greater risk than I am? Maybe, maybe not. Right? I'm with all that you do to protect your body, all that you do to build up your immune system. Maybe I'm at greater risk than you are. So, as you look at it, it's like if we scare ourselves stupid, I think that will put us at greater risk, right? If we actually get too scared. And as I said, right now, the common flu has killed more people than the coronavirus. But we don't see that balance, right? The other thing is we hear that people have died from the coronavirus. Yes, I understand that. But also get the information. Were they people that were compromised to start with, that already were sick and then got it? Or people, that were already struggling on one thing and then this ended up being something that they couldn't cope with because of that. So it's not the sort of you get what I'm saying, all right? It isn't just that if you get it, you're going to die. With the right treatment, you're going to get over it. And not everybody who gets it is actually sick. Yeah, Beth's saying at work, we can't keep the face masks stocked. They buy them all as soon as they come in. Yes, and I was talking to some medical people, Beth, and they said to me that, those regular masks are really not going to do it. They're not sealed, they're not, they are better at keeping in your germs so that you don't spread them to other people than they are to what do you call it? Stop germs getting into you. That is what a medical person told me. Yeah, Jody's saying, I agree, getting the whole story is helpful, not to awfulize and live in the state of panic, right? There's no point. There's absolutely no point because that will lower your immune system even more if you do that. And so do you understand what I'm saying about the face masks? If you've literally got one of those ones that does this, okay, looks a bit like this, that really is not going to protect you from very much. Why? There isn't a proper seal. It's just a piece of an elastic. But it is a good thing if you are not well to stop spreading germs. If you sneeze or cough. Right, Beth, clever. And Beth is saying, I have hand sanitizer in my pocket all the time. I work with a lot of customers. Yes, I would say every time you go near a new till, if you've been working on this till and you go to another one, make sure you do that. If you can, I would say almost every time you touch anything, because you don't know who's coughed or sneezed on that thing you're checking through, right? So it is a risk. I just saw Marnie, my friend Marnie, just put up things that businesses can do to help protect themselves and their customers, and it's all about make sure everybody's washing their hands properly. Make sure you've got the hand sanitizer. Make sure you're talking to your customers about it. The pin pad, great one, yes. They say, I don't know if you know this, Beth, but they say that an office desk has more germs on it than a toilet, right? And you know how fastidious everybody is about cleaning their toilet. Well, we need to be equally fastidious about cleaning our desk areas, or in your case, after each run through on the tills, literally to take a wipe. What do you call it? I don't mean a regular wipe, but a sanitized one, and wipe down before the next bunch of stuff comes in will probably help. And if the customers are going, why are you doing that? You're going, we're doing everything we can to help protect our customers. All right. The pin pad doesn't take a second just to wipe it between, if you've got one of those sanitized wet wipes, you can cross the pin pad and then across the place where everything's about to go down. And I think your customers would really appreciate that. And it could be a lesson for them on how to do that. I store a used big bottle of sanitizer for each register for customers only. Yeah, you see all those sort of things. But do you understand what I'm saying? That those wet wipes. I don't know if you know, Beth, but the regular wet wipes, you can rinse them out and use them again. And if you've got a sanitizer with a pump, you can just pump the sanitizer and help them. And I would think, I don't know what training your company is giving you as to how to protect yourself and your customers, but everything that you can do would be appreciated. I'm certain. Antibacterial wet wipes. Thank you, Jody. You knew I was trying to find those words. She loves me. Hates to see me struggle like that. So it's about what can we do? By the way, how many of you are doing that even when you visit your friends? How many of you are doing that with your own front door? How many of you are doing that, as you get in and out of your own car? Yeah, Beth is saying someone suggested that we need to have wipes where the carts are for customers to use to wipe the cart handles off. Yes, they do that in my supermarket all the time, Beth. Right next to where the carts are, there is pull out a wet wipe and sanitize your cart handle. And by the way, what I do is I wipe it and then I keep it there, because at the same time it's I don't know what I'm touching, but as soon as I put my hands back on the handle, the wet wipes are still there. Do you know what I'm saying? So I will keep one hand on it and I'll pick up stuff and then I'll do the other one and then so that way I'm constantly sanitizing. And if it goes dry on me, I carry sanitizer on my keychain as well. I don't really like sanitizer, but at a time like this, not a bad idea. Yep. So I would say that, we can all do a lot more to help each other in this area. I think we can all do a lot more to help other people be safe. Beth, I think it's wonderful that the customers are solving their own problems. They're coming up with ideas that they would value. All right. And it's not, quite honestly, some of those ideas, are good, a good practices even when there isn't a pandemic scare. Beth is saying, I carry sanitizer and mace on my keys. Yeah, I don't carry mace. But I tell you what I do. Let me get some keys. The two things I do. Number one is if I get out of my car, I do not put my keys away. I lock my car. I've got a fob that has, a panic button on it to start with. And so if I'm pretty near my car, I will keep my hand on the panic area, right? Just in case I need it. If I'm sort of around the corner, half a block away, I obviously won't do that. But what I do is I shift and I hold a key, right? And I normally hold a key like this in my hand. And, because one of those in your face, in your eye, in your throat, with it's gonna get an attention. So sometimes it's the simple things that work just as well. And how many people save their own lives just by not being quiet, just by literally screaming their heads off? And what part of me goes that's important. That I think it's so sad that people's alarms go off and everybody just goes, why don't they turn their alarm off? They don't go and look to see why is the alarm on. Beth is saying, well, we got robbed once before, so if I have to have a great aim, I can run like the wind. Yeah, that's a good idea. And goodbye. All right. Interesting. PJ Mommy is saying that we have it in our car and I have it in my purse. My kids know how to use it regularly as I am now immune compromised. Okay, so are you in fear of some sort as well? And, have you discussed this with your doctor? Because I'm pretty sure that those people with, compromised immune systems, that, your doctor is going to have some pretty good advice for you. And it will probably be the same advice, that Sanjay Gupta is giving everybody, which is, wash your hands and don't just quickly wash them. Wash your hands for like 20 seconds minimum, right? Make a thing about doing that. And, when you're doing that, Sandy, one of the things that I would say is don't just do it for you, do it, make sure your children understand we're doing it to protect ourselves, but also to protect everybody else. That they see that washing their hands and keeping their hands away from their face and eyes and noses are really important. Because it's amazing how many of us, I'm just about to scratch right here. All right, now what if I'm doing that and I've just touched a cart or whatever? So yes, be aware of touching your face. You see, that's the point I was just going to make, Beth, that I am inclined to touch my face a lot. And if I do that, then I put myself at greater risk. I don't know how you stop that. Any ideas, anybody? Thank you, Beth. On average, we touch our faces 2,000 times a day. I definitely know that I am aware of that, Beth. Just, as I said, I just now want to scratch my my nose, and it was just like, yeah, that's a lot of things. It was the same thing as I can't remember. I quoted it one time, and I don't want to get it wrong, but the number of negative thoughts we have run through our brain every day is something like 75,000 or something. Okay, now Beth, I've now got one eye weeping, right? Because I didn't take my antihistamine. So here's the question. If I scratch with a clean Kleenex, is that healthier? In other words, if I need to scratch, that I grab a clean Kleenex and do it, I think it would be. Am I right? Did I read your mind just before you even typed it? Because that's my sense, which is don't use your fingers, use a clean Kleenex. and it could save you a lot of problems. That's what I thought. You know, Beth, I got, I'm going to be touching my face a lot on principle now. I got a whole pack of those little Kleenexes. You know, the little packs? You know the ones I mean, right? They're sort of like this big, like this. I got a whole stack of them, like a dozen of them. And I'm putting them in my purse and in my jacket pockets and everything. I would rather have 2 lots of them with me rather than none at all. And yeah, you know, Sandy's saying, yeah, and we wash our hands as soon as we get in the house. My kiddos are really good about it. It's not just this virus. I tend to catch every bug that comes into our home. Well, I must say that, you know, I don't know what causes your immune to be compromised, Sandy, but we're really sad to hear that it is. What I must say, and I've got to say this because it is true for me, that since I have been working on the, you know, the advice that Benji gave me, you know, eat better food and get more exercise, I think I have built up my immune system quite a bit. I could be wrong, but that's what it feels like to me. Oh, I touched my face. Bad girl. And before Jodie tells me, and she will, it's nearly time for the countdown. All right. Right. Beth is saying, I also clean 7 building toilets. No, she cleans 7 buildings, right? So I know how to protect myself from my own and others' protection. Yeah, excellent. We love you for that. All right, so here we go. For those of you who are interested, we have 11 months and 19 days until the next Valentine's Day, because we just had one. You have 298 shopping days left until Christmas. And for those of you who have family and friends overseas, you have 9 months and 4 days to get those cards in the mail. For those of you who are in the US or are US based in your mind, it's just 8 months and 29 days until Thanksgiving. Think about travel. And for those of us in Canada, we have 7 months and 14 days until our Thanksgiving. For those of us in Canada, we also have 2 months until we have to put in our taxes, but the US, you only have 1 month and 15 days. For those of you who celebrate Easter, we are 1 month and 11 days away. And for all of you who have struggled through winter with me, just 17 days to go until spring. Or if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, just 17 days to go until autumn is around the corner. And this time next week, we will have already put our clocks forward. Wow, Beth is saying 6 months and 26 days until I hit 50. Oh, do you realize that for me, Beth, that's nearly a quarter of a century away? That I am nearly a quarter of a century past 50? Isn't that scary? You know, it's just like, yikes. However, I remember my 50th birthday party very well. So for those of you who study the planets, you know Mercury is in retrograde and it will come out of retrograde on the 10th. Yay! And that's the countdown for today. I was wondering, friends are ageless. Yes, you know something? I agree with you. You know, when I look at my friends who've been my friends for 30 years, I look at them, they don't look old to me, right? They just look a slightly older version of the person I originally met, when of course they're 30 years older. There's no doubt about it. But you know, Beth, the funny thing is, I, for the first time this week, am starting to feel the difference of 15 pounds. All right, I can actually, and that's what I was saying. I'm starting to notice that I'm beginning to get some shape in here that I didn't have. You know, even wearing this, and I've worn this many times, but for some reason, I've got some sort of definition starting to happen right here. And I think it's because of the total gym. I'm probably shifting, you know, the fat cells around or something. Oh, that's interesting. So Sandy is saying that she is 8 months away from 50. So Jody, let's get those birthdays slotted in there. What day is it, Sandy? Just so that we know. And Beth, I know we've got your birthday somewhere, but can you just repeat it for us so that we don't, so we can be double sure to have it, because we had to restart our birthday list. That would be awesome. Anybody else who's got a birthday coming up, let us know. I think we're aware of Sharon in March on the 12th, I think. And I think somebody else is. All right, so August 26th, you will be 50. And on November 10th, Sandy will be 50. Wow. I want to tell you something. I think, and you know, I had a great, oh, thank you, Tanika. Thank you for adding that. Jody will take a note on that. What I found was 50 was great fun because, you know, you always hear about your 50th birthday party. I liked 60. And let me just get it for you. The reason that I liked 60 is I think at 60, I gave up trying to be 40. Do you know what I mean? You know, at 60, I went, okay, I'm 60 now. But somebody gave me this. Does that read the right way for you guys? It says if you haven't grown up by the age of 60, you don't have to. To me, it was the best. It was the best present. I cracked up with that, and I still love it, and it's still in my house. And I have it right by my front door, so when people leave, they get to read it. But you know, it is cute, isn't it? And it's so true. And you know, when I hit 60, it was like, yay! You know, I don't have to pretend anymore. I'm now 60. When did I stop dyeing my hair? Anybody remember? I would be able to find out because I just need to go back on the blogs to see when my hair started to change. But what I did, I remember saying to my hairdresser, let me know how far back the white is. All right. And because, you know, you start off getting this horrible steel gray color. But what I wanted to know was when the white got to here, then I thought, okay, fine. That's when, you know, when that white started to come through, because I like the white, I just didn't like the steel gray. Do I still have steel gray somewhere? Yeah. You see the steel gray underneath? I didn't like the steel gray so much. Oh, so Sandy's saying, I'm having trouble accepting 50 because my mind, I'm still a child. Yes, I totally understand that. Totally understand that. And Beth is saying, I can't stop the gray hair from my eyebrows. Yeah. Yeah, that's why they have pencil. I actually have never bothered about my eyebrows, I must admit. And I was thinking one day perhaps I should, but you know, why bother now? The most important thing to me is my skin, right? As you know, I still think for somebody of my age that spent nearly 20 years in the hot African sun, you know, without any sunscreen on, I have done an incredible job at maintaining my skin. And I have to say that my skin today is probably better than it was 30 years ago. So, you know, I really like that. And I'm hoping as I lose weight that I will maybe even lose the chins a bit. Wouldn't that be nice? If I could get some definition back in my face. An instant facelift. Yeah, and it wouldn't wobble like a turkey. Okay, so Beth saying you have good eyebrows, don't mess with them. Thank you. I really don't think about that. I just have eyebrows. I do know that. I should pencil them one day just to make sure that, you know how funny that could be, right? Um, but, I really do think that. I think that my skin is doing really well considering. When you think about it, I smoked all my life. I should have horrible lines everywhere. And I did for a while have horrible lines here, vertical ones. And, I always had laughter lines, I guess. But what I'm really grateful for is that, the way I'm looking after my skin is working really well. And I'm happy for that. I just would like to get rid of the jowls now. I'll work on it. All right, so here we are about friends. I sometimes think that your best friend is probably not necessarily the friend that you think it is. I think your best friend is the person that comes out of the woodwork to support you when you're going through a tough time. I think that we can all be best friends to one another. I certainly value the friendships I have made here on DearMamaSal. I have to tell you that. I have been amazed at the kindness of people. It was funny. Benji, when he came to visit, I remember him saying, the towel that is in the guest bathroom with DMS on it. Let me get it. Hang on. So, I look at this and I go, he said to me, did a viewer send it to you? And I said, yeah, Pat. And he said, that's so cute. And I said, yep, she cares a great deal. And, it's like, I think the friendships are amazing. Of course, you love Benji, Judy, and the girls, right? What's not to love? They're awesome people. I think, when you think about it, when I first met Benji, I had no idea, and I'm certain he didn't either, that 20 years later, we'd still be, or how many years? How old is he now? He must be probably half a lifetime ago anyway, his lifetime. I had no idea that the friendship that we started then would continue all the way to now. It was because of Benji that you were able to watch the channel, Lily. Yeah. It's funny because it's a really interesting thing. I have met some wonderful people because of that. But you do know the greatest gift that they have given me, and I talk about it all the time, is the ability to interact with the children. You see, I never was able to have children. Therefore, I didn't get to be a mommy, but I also didn't get to be a granny. And so, as some of you have seen, when I go down there, when I'm fortunate enough to go down, it's like there's this part of me that goes, yeah, very nice for the adults, nice to see you. Now then, children. But it took me a long time, Lily. When I first went, I remember when Juliana was born. Of course, it's because of Juliana that I gave up smoking. Yeah, I think all of you know that. But I remember when when I went down for Juliana's christening, I remember Judy handing her to me, and I said, "No, don't give her to me." And she came, "What are you talking about?" I said, I don't know what to do with her. I've never interacted with babies. I have no idea what to do with her. And Judy says, "You hold her." And of course, she screamed. Right? I mean, it really does great for your ego. Right? Absolutely screamed. And It was so funny because I'd meet her and I'd meet her, and eventually she didn't scream as much. But then the twins came along, so every time I walked in the house, well, I look strange and I sound strange, so they screamed. And now they still scream, but it's screams of joy now. So because they know who I am. But it's like, it was just like I was terrified. I don't mind telling you. Yeah, and that's the whole thing. I'm pretty certain that this time I will be a lot more relaxed. I want to tell you something. Jody's saying it's endearing to see you with the children, their faces when you read to them. It's so sweet. Well, you know that they know I'm up to no good half the time. So that's part of the joy, all right, that we have. And they know that I'm only meant to read one story, and I never keep to that rule. I'm very bad about that, and I sort of it's very selfish of me, isn't it? But I love reading to them, and I only get a couple of times a year when I can do it. So it's like, yeah, you're going to get more than one story, whether you want it or not. Um, but what I also love to do is to hear Juliana read to them. All right, I love that, and so I think the last time I read one, and I got Juliana to read one because it's so beautiful to think that I have known her long enough now that that she can now read to the children as well. And so it's a magical moment for me. But when you think about it, if I hadn't been friends with Benji, I would never have met Judy, and Judy is so kind to me. But then I would never have had that experience with the children. And so, we never know. You never know who it is that's going to end up being there for a lifetime. And I don't know, it's a precious gift to me. You couldn't put a value on it for me at all. And it's just like when I first met Doug, he was 18, 17 even when I first met Doug. And I go, here he is, you know, grown man, highly successful. By the way, Doug was telling me, I think some of you know, he's involved with marathon running. He helps organize marathons, and they are really, really concerned. The Tokyo Marathon has already been canceled. Their concern now is whether the Olympics will be canceled. He is saying that it is possible that his whole industry could go down short term because of this virus, because nobody is going to want to be in a crowd of runners. All right, the people are shutting down any event that has more than about 5,000 people in it. So you've got to think about the effect this is going to have globally on the economy, on everything that we do. I kept thinking about, I get quite a few things that come in from China. And I'm going, I have to start wondering, do I need to sanitize those packages before I touch them or after I've touched them? You know what I mean? It's like, who's been touching this package that maybe didn't wash their hands? So I think there are a lot of things we're all going to have to sort of smarten up on a bit, which maybe is a good thing. So the joy of friendship is thank you for yours, all of you. Thank you for being here, because I always find it so lonely standing here talking to myself. And most of all, thank you for caring for each other, because I do know that we have created a group of extended family for people. And I think that is perhaps one of the greatest gifts of doing Dear Mama Sal, that we have been here to help so many people going through a tough time. And our thoughts and prayers are pretty darn powerful from my experience. And so I send you all a really big hug. For those of you who are struggling this week, know we are on your side. Know that whatever you're going through, if you want us to be there with you, we are. And we are a pretty powerful group. It is not about numbers, it is about the quality. And so just know that we're holding your hand. Just know that if you need us, you just need to reach out and we will be there. But if you don't need us, we'll still be there in spirit. And so to all of you who need a friend, thank you for being one to me. And to Jody. And Jody, thank you so much for being our admin and all that you do to make my life so much easier. It is amazing to me that the stress of doing the broadcast has been so much easier since you came along and said, can I help? You know, and I was like, well, actually, now that you mention it. And I realized afterwards, Jody, that I didn't let you know, don't worry about Sunday, I've got it all under control. But you already knew that, because if it were not under control, I'd be contacting you. I was a really bad... Oh, interesting. Kez is saying it's affecting a lot of Australian tourism industry because we get a lot of Asian holidays. Yes, well, you know that I'm in Vancouver, British Columbia, in Canada, and we get an awful lot of tourism and stuff from Asia. So it's going to really hit us hard. And it also is interesting that the cases that have been identified have not been out of Asia. They've been out of Iran. That, you know, we've got 8 confirmed cases here in British Columbia. And as far as I know, most of them came out of Iran, not out of China. Interesting. So everybody, have a super week. Be careful, but don't let it overwhelm you. Hi there. Good to see you, honey. I want to have another discussion, not today, but another day, about meeting online friends, because I was thinking it's a great subject, you know, what to be careful of and what to do, what not to do. So if that's okay with you, I'd really like to talk about that one time. No, it's okay, honey. That's why we have a replay. We were talking about friendship, the joy of friendship. Mind you, we talked about a lot of other things as well, of course. So big hugs to you. And Jody, can you make a note that we talk about, you know, making friends? What I wanted to check, you did say you'd known this person 7 years online, right? And I'm presuming that you are a watcher of catfish. All right, so we don't have to... 9 years, okay. And you watch catfish, so you know what to be careful of. Okay. And, you know, but I was thinking, you know, maybe what we should do is a little bit of a broadcast about that one day, because it's a good subject and one that, you know, we all need to be aware of. Yeah. Okay. So we'll do it. Thanks, Em. I really appreciate the heads up on that, because, you know, when I finished the broadcast, I walked into my thinking room, which is my washroom. I walked into my thinking room and thought, wait a minute. You did not talk about meeting strangers, even if you've known them for 9 years. And I thought, well, I did say, make sure you do it in public. I remember saying that. But you know something, Em? When I was in the thinking room, I thought, what if I had never met Manon from France? You know, if I had not bothered to go meet her, you know, and I'm going, I would have missed that unbelievable voice saying, every time I said thank you, she'd go, it's a pleasure. Oh, you're welcome. You know, it's the way that she said it that just touched my soul every time. It was just wonderful, right? And I go, what if I hadn't met Erin? What if I hadn't met Leah or Angela or whatever? You know, it's like sometimes the risk is, it's always a risk. And so far, I've been pretty lucky. And I want to tell you, I've got Manon in my life for as long as I pray for. Anyway, I hope that she's always in my life, because she always brightens my day. Or Ozzy, you know, any of those people, even though we don't see them necessarily in the broadcast. Oh, so you want some questions about going on a plane? You've never been on a, so you're going to visit, you're going to go to the Netherlands, is that right? Yeah, they are, but you know something? You know the good news today. Oh, she's moved to Germany. Okay. The good news today is I would start. So which airport are you going into? Do you know which the nearest airport is? Schiphol is in the Netherlands. Schiphol Airport is in the Netherlands. It's not in Germany. No, you didn't spell it right, but it's close enough. It's got a C in there. It's SCH. Um, right. I want to tell you, Schiphol Airport is one of my favorite airports. It's a wonderful airport, in my view. All right, it's one of my favorite ones. So you're gonna do a skip and a jump over to Schiphol and then down into Germany. So which airport in Germany? Because here's what I'm going to tell you to start doing right now. Start uh, researching the layout of Schiphol Airport and the layout. Oh, she's going to pick up in Amsterdam. Okay, so then you're just going to go to Schiphol. Okay, so here's the thing. I would start printing out, the layout of Schiphol Airport, so it's not a strange thing to you when you actually land. I would also work out, I'm flying in on, BOAC or whatever it is today, British Airways or something, or whatever airline you're using. And therefore, their gate numbers are here in this part of the airport. Belfast Airport. Okay. Yeah. So, start getting aware because you can actually see which gates those particular airlines use. All right. Because they all use they have got their own gates. And so you know that you're going to have to walk all the way from here to gate so and so. All right. And I want to tell you, once you know that, you also, if you like you are, you've got an analytical side to you. Am I correct? Right. So I definitely will be happy to talk to you about that. I did it once when I was traveling with Benji, and I'll talk about that. I'll add that into a broadcast. And there was a reason, right? Because I don't move anything like as fast as Benji does. That's what I thought, that you analyze anything. So I do too. I analyze a lot of things. Therefore, print them out, study them. Go, I know that this group of gates is where the Belfast, where the flight's going to leave from. I know that when I land in Schiphol, I'm going to land at one of these gates. There's normally one pod or two, all right, an area. And I'm going to have to walk all the way down. And I start planning, I need to go past gates or all the, I'm going to be at gate 62. I got to walk all the way down to this area. And see, so when I'm there, I don't even worry about it. I just know, okay, fine. And I can ask people, the other thing is be grateful for the fact that most signs around the world are printed in the local language and English. Yeah, you not only will you have it in your mind's eye, knowing you, you will take a digital picture of those airports so that you can look at them if you need to. What do you think? Carry them with you. Good idea? I do, don't I? I'm out of here. Goodbye. This is DearMamaSal saying it's a pleasure. I'm glad you came in, Em, and asked those questions. You know what your homework is for this week. And we know you've got a few months to go, but it's always a good idea. Travel tips are always a great idea, in my view. This is DearMamaSal saying thank you so much for being with me. I'm off to go and do some work on my total gym to try and help my left leg. And I will see you all pretty darn soon, if I'm lucky. Bye-bye for now. Bye. See ya.